Of course, the vice president, who has an office in the U.S. Capitol and who is prescribed a specific role to cast tie-breaking votes, and they've cast a few important ones in history,
is going to interact with. Get in there and really mix it up on policy.
Okay, oh, come on. So Joe Biden, who has never been able to really control his level of engagement, and that's why you sequestered him in Delaware.
Let me tell you something, Nancy.
You think he's not going to discuss with his fellow Senate Democrats public policy?
Nancy, let me tell you the bad news here, and I know you're making the best case you can, but I'm going to tell you something, Nancy Pfotenhauer. In 1961, when Lyndon Johnson moved from being Senate Majority Leader to Vice President, he thought he could continue his leadership role in the Senate. He went to one meeting of the Democratic Caucus, and he never went again because he was completely frozen out. They do not let anybody but his senator get involved with policy decisions. Nobody but U.S. senators can act on the floor of the United States Senate. That's the way the Constitution works. And to get that wrong is to get something very big wrong. And I don't know why Randy Scheunemann or one of the smart people around, or I don't know who else, Nicole Wallace, somebody ought to go to the candidate for vice president and give them a copy of the Constitution to read. That's all it takes. It doesn't take a lot of penetrating thought. Read the job description.
Are you actually postulating that the vice president of the United States of a certain political party does not engage with the other senators of that same political party and have public policy discussions? How can you possibly postulate that?
Let me just tell you that. And you're doing the best you can. Nancy, you wouldn't have said what the candidate just said on this tape, which I've played twice, that the vice president is in charge of the U.S. Senate. The Vice President of the United States is not in charge of the U.S. Senate. The Vice President of the United States is not in charge of policy development. They're not in charge. They're the formal presiding officer with absolutely no authority. As written in the Constitution, it says will have no authority except to break a tie. And somehow, in all this trip to Washington through Neiman's and through Saks and everywhere else that she stopped off, she never picked up a copy of the Constitution. And it is a problem. It is a problem, Nancy, and you know it is. We'll talk about this after the election. You know it is. You got a candidate who doesn't know the job description.